about once a year, I'll get a package in the mail, seemingly randomly. And inside will just be a figure that I forgot that I just pre-ordered. The thing about figures is that they are announced like months or even years in advance. And because they're limited, like they're collectibles, they only make like one batch and then they'll never make them again. So, if you don't get them, like if you don't pre-order them, you might not be able to get them later, like when they are released. So because of that, like fear of missing out, I'll just pre-order a figure if I think I might want to get it later, just to be safe. If the price is right and it's not too expensive, I'll just like, it's like whatever. I'm like, I'm sure I'll appreciate this later. But what happens is eventually over the course of years, you end up getting like a bunch of figures. Like it starts with just one because you're like, yeah, whatever, it's just one. And then it's just a slippery slope. Like from there, you'll get two, and then two will turn into several. And then, yeah. So over the course of the last couple years, I guess, I've just amassed a bunch of figures, and it used to, I think, like look all right. Like it wasn't too crowded on the shelf here. But now it's getting kind of crowded, and I feel like, oh, maybe I don't need that many figures. Maybe I don't need to buy figures anymore. But I know eventually something will get announced, and I'll want to just buy it, and I'll buy it. So before that happens, I should probably clean this up a little bit. I should probably put some away that I'm not, really appreciating as much as I used to. The first figure I ever got was actually this Rem Nendroid. Like I just finished watching ReZero season 1 at the time, and I was like, yeah, maybe I want a Rem thing. So I got a Nendroid because they're really affordable. They're only like 30 to 50 USD. But then that's just a slippery slope, because then once you have one, it's really easy to get a second one. So after that, I got this Morgana Nendroid because I just finished playing Persona 5, and I was like, oh yeah, I want a Persona thing. So once you have one, it's easy to get two, and then from there it just like snowballs. It's just a slippery slope into all these other figures. And like I have I guess a VTuber idol thing going on here. Not really, but I have two Suisei things and then like one Tokino sort of thing. And then in the back I just have Miku wearing an Agumon onesie, which I got just because, I don't know, because I just wanted it. Oh, look at this Meowth block. And the Pikachu one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look at the back.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
I think that's the front.
Diamond and Pearl. So this came out, when Diamond and Pearl came out? 2006, 2007?
That explains why it's
so old, yeah.
Faded.
Can you believe that's already 20 years ago?
Stop.
That's crazy. The first time I ever got asked, like, what was your first experience of culture shock in Japan? I was in Japanese class at university, and it was like part of an assignment. It was part of like a reading and writing kind of thing. And I didn't really care at the time to answer it properly. Like, I just wanted to get my assignment done. So I just put like, oh, Japanese people slurp noodles when they eat ramen. And that's surprising. That's not really the truth. I already knew that. So, it wasn't that. I just figured that the assignment was to assess my Japanese ability, not my ability to experience culture shock. So I didn't like think too much about it. But my first actual legitimate experience of culture shock, I think, was probably just like running into, I don't know how to put it honestly, but I guess like this idea, this sense that everything has to be done properly, everything has to be triple checked and by the book. One of the things that really like has stayed with me was probably the first time I tried to close a bank account. So I had just finished my study abroad program, and I was gonna go back home. So I was trying to close all my loose ends. So I was closing all my accounts, that kind of stuff. And on the very last day, I was like, oh, I'm gonna like cancel my cell phone contract and my bank account, and then I'm gonna go to the airport, and that'll be it. So like canceling my phone contract wasn't that big of a deal. That wasn't too hard. I just had to pay off the rest of my phone. And then when I went to the bank, that's when I ran into like actual like issues. And I think that's when I experienced like my first case of like being not quite shocked, but I guess frustrated at like a different way of doing things. If you have lived in Japan for some time, you would probably know that in order to sign official documents, not like technically sign, but to authenticate any kind of official document, you would need like a hanko, like a personal stamp that acts as your signature. But I actually opened a bank account at a place that like didn't require a hanko, like they would actually just take your signature. So I just did that. So I signed like the contract or whatever, and then I was good. Now the problem is, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like over time, like your signature changes like ever so slightly, and then over the course of like 1 or 2 years, your signature might look like a little bit different from when you first signed it. And that's exactly what happened to me. So when I went to go close my account, I had to go sign like a form, but the guy who was like helping me like wouldn't accept it. Like he wouldn't take my signature as like an official like sign that it was me. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean it's not me? Like yeah, it's a little bit different, but that's just my signature. Like it's just changed a little bit. But he was having like none of that. He like would not accept that I was the person that opened that account and I'm trying to close it. At the time, I was just like, what do you mean? Like, are you serious? Like, did you think I found a wallet on the ground and I picked it up and I stole all the cards, but for some insane chance, like this guy's ID looks exactly like me, and then I'm gonna go and close his bank account? Like, what do you think? But yeah, that was probably the first time I like ran into any kind of like some conflict regarding like a way of thinking, like a way of doing things. But eventually the guy like took my signature and he let me close my account. I think it's because I must have just been so frustrated at the time that he was just like, all right, fine. But yeah, no, that was the first time that I ever ran into any kind of difference in culture, and it was kind of like a problem. Like it wasn't shocking like I think people tend to think about like with culture shock experiences, but it was definitely the first time that I really experienced like a difference in culture. I think if you've lived in Japan for quite some time, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. You'll just try to do something, and because something is like a certain way, like you can't get it done, like things have to be done by the book, or things have to be done in a certain way, and probably eventually you'll like run into some kind of problem with that. Another thing that I can think about, which is really similar, is like an issue with middle names. Like if you have a middle name, make sure you either always use your middle name no matter what you do. Like if you open any kind of account or you have like any kind of registration, always use your middle name, or always don't use your middle name, because the moment you like try to mix the two, you're gonna run into some problems. I've had like a number of times where my middle name or the absence of my middle name like resulted in some issues, like I couldn't do a thing. So I would be really careful about that. Just make sure you are extremely consistent regarding your middle name if you have one. Anyways, I think that's it. I just wanted to share that experience, I guess. Also, I haven't made a video in a while, and I just kind of felt like just turning my camera on. So I don't know, hope that was useful in some way. But yeah, I will see you again. Thanks for watching. I super appreciate it. Take care.